Okay, so for the handle for your teacup and saucer, think about how much clay you need. Probably like, again, a good ping pong ball size piece of clay. And for this, we're gonna do coil. So again, you're gonna start with a sphere of clay, roll it into a sphere and be smoothing out the cracks kind of as you go. Because remember, especially with coils, the more cracks that you have, the more problematic everything is going to be along the way. So again, I'm smoothing out any cracks and just constantly rehydrating. Look how dry my hands are, right? Because I'm sucking all the moisture away from the clay. So I always want to make sure to rehydrate. Okay, so once you have a sphere, you're going to roll it in between your palms, kind of squeeze it in between your palms till it becomes kind of like, again, the size of that like baby carrot. Okay, and then once it gets to be about that size, you're gonna take it and roll it onto the table. Put that off to the side there. Because you don't wanna keep rolling it too much in your hand or it's gonna fall apart. Okay, so remember, you're lightly rolling and kind of pulling the clay and you're trying to have it be rounded. Again, any cracks, just smooth that out with a little bit of water. And then think about the thickness that you want your handle to be. You want it to be not too thick, not too thin. You want to be able to fit, you know, some of your hand through so that you can actually hold the cup. And then again, you don't want it to, the coil to be any thicker than your pinky finger. So just kind of keep on rolling it until you get to a nice thickness and shape. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you can see not too thick. And again, just keep kind of hydrating as you go because we are going to bend this, right, to have it fit onto our cup. Okay, so before you bend it, make sure plenty of water is on there. Obviously, this is way more handle than we need, right? But always good to kind of have extra rather than too little. Okay, so if I'm thinking I need to fit let's say, my 2 fingers through, I want it to be about like that. So I'm just going to kind of chop some of this extra, kind of remeasure. That looks pretty good, right? Sorry, I'll kind of bring it up so you can see. So it looks pretty good. I mean, a little bit of extra space, which is fine. Okay, and then I just smoothed out any cracks there. Okay, so now we gotta decide where we want it and get some score marks on there. So again, like a hashtag, score marks as well onto the end of the handles. Okay, and then you want slip. Okay, so a little bit of slip on both of these parts as well as onto the handle. Okay, and take it where you want it and you're going to kind of press on to those 2 parts where you're wanting it to be attached. Okay, we're not done yet, so just kind of gently kind of set it on its side. And then the final step, and again, this will be a bit easier the more leather hard it is you want to smooth, right? So you're going to roll a coil for both locations where you put the handle, and you're going to press this thin coil around that whole part, okay? Press it into the handle and press it into the teacup, and then we're going to smooth it. So I'm going to do a little bit more for this bottom handle as well. And this really is the most foolproof way to get your handle to stay. So make sure that you remember to press, again, that coil to fill in those seams. Then take, again, like your popsicle stick tool, and you're gonna smooth some of that clay down onto your mug and some of that clay onto the handle. And just be really careful with it as you go. You don't wanna smush the handle, you don't wanna smush your nice cup. Okay, so I'm smoothing down onto that handle, up onto this, or down onto the cup, sorry, up onto the handle. Again, just to kind of fill in that space and really give it that solid foundation so that it's really sturdy. Okay, and then I'm just kind of smoothing around. If you have that little sponge on a stick tool that I gave you all in class, that's good. I don't have one at home. I'm just gonna use my regular sponge. Again, your hands are a great smoothing tool as well. okay? But you're just kind of, again, making sure you don't see any of your marks. Then we're gonna do the same thing on this other one. Again, so if you're using a wooden tool, always dip it in water. Just helps it to not catch on the clay. So I'm smoothing some of this coil onto my piece and then some of it up onto the handle. Very carefully. Up onto the handle, up onto the cup. And then the same thing here. Kind of is getting a little tricky, so I'm just gonna kind of hold this handle a little bit here. Again, probably easier if you're doing this on the table, but I'm trying to have it so that y'all can see. So, you know, I would recommend leave your cup on the table while you're working on it versus what I'm doing here. Do as I say, not as I do, right? That annoying phrase, but it is relevant here, okay? Smoothing that all in, and then some water to kind of smooth out. Again, this sponge. If I had one of those sponge tools that I gave you all, it would be helpful because I could get like in there. But we work with what we have. So there you have it. Okay. And again, so I'm just kind of going in, smoothing, refining that to hide kind of all my marks. Okay, it's a pretty big handle. But again, I like to have like 2 fingers through my cup when I drink through it. And then just give it a test. And again, test it on the table as well. You don't want to have it go past the cup, right? Because then it's not going to sit flat. So you can kind of play around with that. Again, it's all really soft right now. So this would be the time to kind of bend that handle how you want it. Do any other kind of things like that. Now from this stage and from where the saucer is, I'm just gonna let this sit for like a day, and I'm gonna do some more videos tomorrow once this is set up and become leather hard, of just like etching in the designs and things like that, so you can see the difference. Because like, for example, if I go in and do some designs like right now, we get all these like clay boogers and things like that, which are really ugly, which of course I'm gonna smooth out. So what you want to do between now and like the next time you work on your piece is just go in and really kind of smooth everything, either with your sponge, with your hand. Just kind of make sure that there are no cracks or seams in the piece or lumps that you don't want. And then you're gonna let it set up to get leather hard. And remember to do that. You can either leave it out, if you're at home, leave it out for a couple of hours just in the air, and then cover it just with a plastic bag, no damp paper towels, okay? Or if you need to clean up your workspace because you're, you know, on the kitchen table or whatever, just take your piece, put it just with a plastic bag, and then come back to it tomorrow, and we will continue with our demos, okay?